Hey guys, I got the cornbread made and I'm getting ready to start my dressing. I think I stretched out my top here. I changed my top so I don't have the same colors on so people won't think, hey, I've already seen that one, and not pay attention to the name. So I try to put on a different color. But anyway, let me get my apron on over here and we will get started. I'll be right back. Okay. Now, I told you in the earlier video, I got my cornbread made. I made extra cornbread today, but I had a cornbread I made a few days ago, and I actually like to use cornbread that's a couple days old. It just works better for some reason. I don't know why. I haven't figured out that much yet, but I just know it works better. But anyway, I'm setting this here, letting it cool. Like I told you in the other video, I cut it up, put it on its edge so it doesn't sweat on the bottom and get soggy. But one thing that I do is I usually cut up another onion and another stalk of celery. And I cut the celery kind of fine, and I saute them and get them kind of soft. And I do that because when I make a big batch of that broth like that, sometimes you won't get a lot of celery in one jar and you'll get a lot of celery in the other jar. And, you got 4 different jars, so I'll only use one of those today probably if I use a whole one. I usually try to take the meat out of it and dice it, chop it up some. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and put my onions and my celery on. And you can see how much I've got here. And I may use it all and I may not. I'll just put it in what I need, and whatever, I don't need, well, I'll just put it in a little bag and freeze it and, put it in something else. You don't have to throw things away like this. When you saute in quantity, you can use a little container and freeze it, or a Ziploc freezer bag. And, if you've got things you use onions and celery in, like I do potato soup, I'll just take this out and throw it in my potato soup. So now I'm going to put me just a little bit of oil in my skillet here. Let me get you all down a little bit. There you go. I'll get y'all cooking with gas here in a minute. I put me just a little bit of oil in here. I don't put too much. Sometimes I put a little water. I try not to make this too greasy, I do like to put a little bit of butter in it though, because butter gives dressing a little better flavor. And but you don't want to get too much in here because it'll burn your vegetables. But it's good. It's good. Now, when that warms up just a little bit, we're going to put this in here. And I'm going to put a lid on it because I'm sweating it. I'm steaming this kind of. I'm cooking it slow. And while I'm getting some other things ready, this will be over here simmering and cooking. And I did cut my celery into 4 pieces. 1 stalk of celery. I sliced it all the way down 4 times. And I got some kind of, they're not exactly the same, but I tried to get, but they are smaller. You can see that they're much smaller. Oop, sorry guys. You can see they're much smaller than a whole big rib piece of celery, And that's so they'll cook a little quicker. But even in this though, they are going to cook in the oven again, But once your skillet starts getting hot, put your stuff in. And you want to, let me get a spatula over here. If you don't have silicone spatulas, get you some that are all made in one piece. They work so well in things like this. And I used to buy Teflon utensils. The plastic utensils, they don't work near as good as this does. So, try this. Uh-oh, I got a big piece of onion there. Too big. I'm going to take that. Well, maybe not. No, it's not. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, now you're going to put just a teeny tad of salt. Not much. Because salt will make it sweat and make the juice come out and make it taste better. I'm getting onions all over my stove, guys. Okay, now, I've kind of got it all in here. Spread it out one layer across your pan. Turn it down low. Let me get my lid. I use the lid that goes on my big kettle up here. It fits pretty good, so that's the one I use. So now we're going to go over to the counter, and we're going to chop up our cornbread. Or not our cornbread, our light bread. My grandmother always called it light bread. If you've got some stale bread, that'll work wonderful. This bread, the date ran out on it on November 7th. As long as it's not moldy and doesn't smell bad, it's fine. Okay, it works fine and stuff like this. So let's go over here and let's get to getting this bread ready to put in our dressing. I am so thankful and so happy you all tuned in with me today. This is Kentucky Cooking with Kathy. That is my page. If you're watching this video on anything else, guess what? They stole it. Please don't give them your patronage. Don't let them make money off of my videos. I don't even make money myself, guys. I don't do it for that. I do it for the pure enjoyment of helping people and making friends and sharing my faith and just having fun in the kitchen. And I pray that these people, the Lord would convict them about doing things like this because it's not right. Okay. I'm going to take a plate and set down here. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to get this bread out and you're just going to kind of crumble it up. You don't want it in big pieces. You just want to kind of crumble it. And this is kind of going to be a binder to hold that cornbread together a little better. You don't put a lot of this in there, but just kind of crumble it up. And you want to let it sit out and kind of dry just a little bit after you crumble it. It won't hurt it. It won't hurt it at all, guys. And you just want to make it into little pieces. Now, smell of it. Mine still smells fine. There's no mold. There's nothing like that on it. It's not going to hurt anybody. But for one reason, you're cooking it again. And for another reason, there's nothing wrong with it. Some people get OCD about this stuff, and they think, oh, that's awful. It's out of date. Well, big deal. There's a lot of things that won't hurt you to eat if it's out of date. As a matter of fact, some things work better if they're out of date. Just like this. It works much better if it is out of date. Now, I think this is about enough. I've used 3 slices. And I'm going to go ahead and do another one just in case. I'm going to do 4 and have it there just in case I want more. If I don't need it, then I'll just chuck it. But now, some people, this year, I'm going to put an egg in my dressing. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You don't have to. But this year, I'm going to put an egg in it, I think. I've made it both ways. Never had a problem with anybody eating any of it. Robert loves dressing. My kids always love dressing. My kids used to, when we'd have leftover dressing at Thanksgiving, they would go in there and put dressing and turkey on bread and make sandwiches out of it. I don't know if your kids did that or not, but mine did. My oldest son, Brandon, would do that. Jason loves it like that. I don't know if Bobby Joe ever really fooled that much with it. And Angie always liked dressing. But, kids are funny. Kids are funny. They're all different. They all act different. They all are different. And that's okay. That's a good thing. Thank goodness they're not all just alike. I love all my kids. All their little quirks and, my oldest son, he was always so odd growing up. And, and somebody told him one time, only a mother could love you, Brandon. He didn't quite understand that, he didn't, but that's probably true. He had an odd personality. He's still got an odd personality, and sometimes he can be very sarcastic, and a lot of times people don't take to that very well. So probably true. Probably only a mother would love you. the way some of them act sometimes. But anyway, let me go over here and check my onions and things. I'll let you all go with me. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, they're a-cooking. Now, I'm just going to put my lid back on it and kind of press them down to where they get them up. I've got a piece of... I saw that and I thought, what is that? It's a little piece of onion skin. Let me set that back there. Now, I'm going to put my oven on 375 degrees. And I'm going to be preheating that. And I will be back in just a second and get the rest of our stuff going. Get your pans ready, guys. I started out, I said I was going to make an 8x8 pan. I may have a bigger pan. And I may just go ahead and make it a little bigger, and just so I could have some left over and just take it to my mother-in-law's when I go, maybe. She's invited me down on the day after Thanksgiving to Robert's sister is coming in from Virginia. Robert only gets to see her twice a year, sometimes only once a year. So they always call us plenty of time and invite us down, you know, and want to know if we want to come. And, of course, Robert wants to see his sister, and he wants to see his mom. And that's a good thing. I'm glad he does. But anyway, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, guys. My onions and celery are done enough. You know, you just want to cook them till they start getting soft. And mine are soft, pretty much. So I'm going to set these over here for just a minute. Let them be cooling. Just a little. And I have took my broth out of the refrigerator. It wasn't completely thawed yet, so but it was mushy enough I could pour it out and put it in the kettle, and I'm going to warm it up a little bit because I don't want it to be cold when I put it in there. Plus I've got to chop up some of this meat. So I'll do that before I put it in. Right now, though, I just want it to warm up. Okay? And I'm going to get my little pad back over here that I cut things on so that I can be cutting up part of the meat. What you want to do is just take out any of the big chunks of meat like this. Put them on your cutting board and just, you know, cut them up in smaller pieces. Now, my mom didn't even do that. She just put the big old chunks of meat in there. And it didn't matter to her, you know. She thought you had good teeth, you could chew it up. Now, the rest of that there is okay. Okay, now let me cut some of this up here. I'll scoot you back. If you want to watch me cut, you can watch me cut. But I'm just going to cut up some of it, you know, and get it in smaller chunks. You can actually just take your hands like this and mash it up if you want to. That's kind of the way Mom did. She just squished it up a little bit and got it all kind of smaller pieces, and that's the way it was. Then she puts all of it back into the juice here. You rinse my hands off. And I mean, I don't let it get hot, but you know, I want it warm so that it just takes your dressing long to cook in the oven if everything is, you know, freezing cold. And you can kind of see this would be really good if you wanted potato or chicken soup. You can kind of see the chicken and celery and carrots and vegetables. And I may add just a little bit of chicken stock to it, just to make sure I've got enough wet ingredients, you know. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. I think it's getting warm. Now, before I told you, I didn't salt this. I don't salt my dressing until I get everything in there. And then I taste of it and see how much salt it needs. But I will be back in just a second. Let me get all my stuff over at the counter. Okay, guys, we are ready to start putting our dressing together. Now, I thought a while ago, well, since I'm going to be making this, I just might as well make enough that I could take to Robert's mom's or somewhere else. So I'm going to make 2 8x8 pans while I'm making it. And this will make 2 8x8s or a big 9x13. Now, it might be a little thicker in the 9x13, but it's fine. Won't hurt it. Now, I've got 8 cups. This bowl is 8 cups, I think. Let me find I can find the measurement on it somewhere. It's usually right there, unless I'm looking over it. Well, padoodle. Let me get one of my bowls out here. I can't see on that one. Let's see. Okay. It's about seven cups. If you go all the way up here to the rim. Okay, we're going to put that in there. Okay. Now, we're going to put in some of our light bread crumbs. Probably all of them. I'm just going to go ahead and put them all in there. And you want to mix that up. Okay. Okay, now, we're going to put some sage in. This is rubbed sage. And I usually will put, a couple teaspoons till I get, I taste it. Then if I taste it, it needs more, I add more, okay? Make sure you got clean hands if you do this, guys. And I did go out and get me an extra thing of chicken broth, just in case if I need a little more moisture in it. Now, I need an egg, if I can get it open here. And if you want a fluffier dressing, then you can use another egg if you want to, but I think one is plenty. I want to make sure my liquid is not too hot there. Now, I mix this up with my hands. I'm going to get the rest of my onions and my celery here, and I'm going to put them over to the side a little bit. I don't want them right in with that egg yet, because they may still be a little warm. We don't want any scrambled egg. Okay, now, let's get this kind of stirred around here a little bit. Let me get my... Well, I'm afraid you all can't see. If I get too far away, I don't need to go that way. I need to go this way, don't I? Okay, there, that'll work. Now, I'm going to stop right there just for a minute, and I'm going to start kind of mixing this up. And see how wet it is, because I don't want it overly wet, but I don't want it mushy dry either. It's looking pretty good there. And you just kind of squish it together like you're making biscuits. I'm going to put just a little bit more liquid because it will absorb some of this liquid. Okay, now, I'm going to get me a little taste of it. Maybe just a little bit more sage, not too much. Sage is a very strong herb, so you have to be careful. Can't see what I'm doing there, so I'm trying to do it this way. Some people love a lot of sage. You know, they just really love sage, so. And yes, I will be tasting this because this is for my family. Still needs a little bit more sage. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to put in it. Because I'm afraid to over-sage it. It'll be okay. Okay, now we're going to put just a tiny bit of salt, not a lot. Okay, about a half a teaspoon or something like that. Because cornbread and things like that, they've already got salt in them. So you have to be careful not to over salt things. And all this kneading you do, this really gets things incorporated good. If Kathy don't quit splattering it all over the counter. Okay, now, let me get my fingers rinsed off here. Oh my goodness, I'm just splattering it. I'll be right back. Let me rinse my hand. Dry my hand off. Now, we're going to take our two pans and we're going to put some oil in them. You can either use oil or butter, whichever you want to. Now, I did put about 2 tablespoons of butter in my onions when I was cooking them. I'm going to set this back out of the way because this is what I'll finish making my giblet gravy out of. So I'm going to set it back over here. And I am going to put some black pepper in this dressing. I've got some black pepper, but not a lot, so I'm going to put a little bit more. And I'm going to put some oil in my pans. And I do have my oven preheated to 375 degrees. Now, it doesn't take a lot of oil. The reason you do this is to keep it from sticking to your pans so bad. You know. I started thinking, well, since I'm making this, I just might as well make enough for somebody else and put it in the freezer, and then I can just take it out and let it thaw out the day before and take it with me wherever we go. So, anyways, it is what it is. Now, let me wipe my hands off good here again. Okay, I'm going to get this black pepper mixed up in it a little bit here. My nose itches off when I start doing something like this. Aggravates tarnation out of me. Okay, now we're going to fill up our pans, okay? Now you fill it up to about, you want it about a 1/2 inch from the top. You don't want to get it right up around the top. You see what I've got here for this other one. Mine and Robert's, this extra one that I'm making today, doesn't have to be as big as the other one. But it looks like both of them are going to be pretty well full. I actually like thinner dressing, but some people don't. Some people like the thick dressing, and I'll probably put this other little gloop in this one. I'll put this in the one that, in case we go somewhere else and somebody wants it, why, you know. And you can kind of take your fingers and rub across the top so it's not slicky looking. That's what I do. I just kind of muss it up because you don't want it to look, you want it to be foodie wise. But I hear my little whistle going off outside. I must have somebody out at the front door. Now, I'm going to put these in the oven at 375 degrees. And I'll bake them at 375 for a while. And then I'll probably turn it down to 350. You'll need to bake these for at least about an hour. You know, cook them at 375 for about 20-25 minutes, and then cut it down to 350 and bake it until it's you know, till it's good and done. I would cook it for at least another 30 minutes. You know, you just check it yourself. Now, it's going to get a little crunchy on top like, but the inside is still going to be moist, okay? So, there's you some stuffing, guys. That wasn't hard, was it? I'll be back in a little bit when I pull them out of the oven. Hey, guys. The dressing is just about done. I've had it in the oven about 50 minutes. And I turned it on low broil because I kind of wanted to get the top a little crusty. You know, I like it to have a little oomph on top of it. I don't like the top to be mushy, you know. I'm going to tell you something. I think the reason I like dressing like this is because when I taught school at Garrett Elementary, and somebody on my page a while ago, a little girl, well, she's not a little girl now, she's a grown woman, but I had her in first grade, and she was talking about how she really missed the Thanksgiving dinners and things at our little school out there. It was a small little country school, and everybody was just like family, you know. Our lunchroom would be full at Thanksgiving time with people, and they would fix our dressing, the cooks would. They'd fix these great big pans of dressing. They'd always cut it in squares. I think that's why I cut it in squares. But it always had this neat little crust on top, but it was soft inside. It was always so good. I mean, we had some of the best cooks. And Joanne Floyd and Brenda Haste and Josephine Baez. We had just had different people out there. We had several different cooks, but Donna Baez, she, you know, we had good cooks. And I remember our dinners. So this is back when cooks actually cooked at school. They didn't pour it out of a package and heat it up. And I'm keeping an eye on my dressing here. But anyway, it was just really, really good. And, you know, I have such good memories out there, and that's what I told the little lady a while ago. I said, I don't think we'll ever see that again. We don't have the closeness. People aren't close anymore. Friendships, it just seems like people don't even have time to hardly ever even talk to you, much less develop a friendship and develop time to love you as a person, you know. And I think about my two neighbors off here, Ted and Mary Alice. You know, the ones I've told you, the older people. Well, they both had COVID in the last week, on top of everything else they've been going through. And I just love them so much, and I hate seeing them sick, you know. I just feel so bad. But But I know, I know they're both ready to go to heaven. I know they're both tired. They've both told me this. So Mary Alice said the other day, she said, I just wish I'd go to sleep and go on to heaven. She just wants to go home. She's just tired. And what an awesome testimony. What an awesome testimony, guys. And, but anyway, I've got my broiler on low right now because I don't want to burn the top of this. I just want it good and golden and got a good crust on the top, But if you don't like yours like that, you can go ahead and take yours out. You don't have to keep doing it. But I will put a picture of this in a minute, and I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll try to put a recipe on there with it. So if you want to make some stuffing, some dressing, like us old hillbillies, we talk like hillbillies. I know I do. Since I quit teaching, I've kind of reverted back to the way my granny talked and my mom talked. And somebody said one day about using proper grammar. I said, what is proper grammar? Who decided what was proper? Your voice, you being able to talk, is to communicate. Everybody may not communicate the same, but as long as you get the gist of what they're talking about, that's all that matters. Being able to communicate. But I will be back in a minute and take a picture and put it on there. Now remember, go back on my page and look for this. I'm going to post a picture of the dressing and the recipe. Be back in a bit. Okay, guys, there's my 2 pans of dressing. You can see it's kind of got crunchy edges. And you can kind of hear, let me get a spoon here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, it's not mushy on top. It's not really hard, but it gives you a little bit of a crust like. And if you don't like that on top of it, then don't do yours with it. I mean, I don't know what else to tell people. I feel like I'm just, these get way too long. But anyway, God bless you all. Have a great day. I love everybody. I noticed this morning my page has jumped up to 75,000 and growing like wildfire. Thanksgiving seems to really bring out the people that want to learn how to cook. But that's how many followers right now. It went from 73,000 yesterday to 75,000 today. And I'm sure it'll reach 100,000 pretty quick probably. So make sure that you like the video, share the video, and leave a comment, guys. I love you all. Bye.